Welcome to Dear Business Coach, the podcast. My name's Elizabeth. Find one thing to move your business forward today with conversations, spotlights, interviews, articles, and free resources. Listen and follow and subscribe on social media. Dear Business Coach pages and groups. Dear Business Coach podcast. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and don't forget Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, anywhere you listen to podcasts. All it takes sometimes is one little thing to move your business forward today. Okay. All right. And excellent. So thank you so much for coming to the Dear Business Coach podcast today. Taruna Ramani, is that how I say your name properly?
Correct.
Okay. I have to double check, and I thank you again for coming today. I have some very important questions to ask you about speaking skills. I need to ask you first, how are you doing today?
Doing great. I'm doing great, and I'm really looking forward to the year 2025. Yeah.
Good, me too, me too. I'm glad to hear you say that. So let's get started. And I have I'm looking at your LinkedIn profile, and that is linkedin.com/in/Taruna-Ramani. So that's easy to find. And as I mentioned, I have some details here I'd like to read aloud to you about yourself. So on LinkedIn, the About section says some details about speaking skills. And basically, you say to me, are you tired of being held back by your fears and insecurities? Do you long to command attention and leave a lasting impression? Are you ready to elevate your communication skills? And consider this a crucial step towards your transformation. And transformation is in all capital letters. That's exciting. You say, I bring to you an opportunity that promises whoops, I moved my cursor. You say that I bring to you an opportunity that promises evolution and growth in your personal and professional life. Don't let fear, self-doubt, or lack of confidence hold you back. Imagine the countless opportunities you've missed because you were hesitant and to demonstrate your abilities. The fight is real, but you don't have to face it alone. And I should also say that you are a TEDx Andover speaker. I see in your background some detail, and you are a keynote speaker, international keynote speaker, a corporate communication trainer, and specifically a public speaking expert. So when I first looked at your profile, this is what I brought up with you when we met before. Your profile, the photo banner says, "Are your speaking skills holding back your success?" And that really stands out to me, because the first thing, I get a little bit offended when I see that banner, and maybe that's on purpose to make me stop. Now, wait a minute. I know my speaking skills aren't maybe the best, but what is about my speaking holding me back? I'm actually doing something in my speaking that's holding me back, is the way that I felt when I read that. So Taruna, maybe tell me a little bit about what we can learn from you here today.
Well, so first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity, Elizabeth, because I strongly feel that I need to send this message out to more and more people, because sometimes they accept the status quo to think that, this is how things are and this is how things will go.
Mm.
And it is not the truth, because however, wherever your speaking skills are right now, you can elevate them purposefully. It is an acquired skill. Public speaking, acquired skill. Each and every one of us can take it notches higher if we are very strategic about it, about the gaps and how we can bridge those gaps, right? So when you said that my banner struck you on my LinkedIn,
Mhm.
that is the truth, because each and every one of us, if our speaking skills, our communication skills, speaking and communication, let me just put it as two different things for now.
Okay.
Could be speaking your heart out. You could be speaking all the knowledge that you have, but are you communicating it in a way that is resonating with your audience? Is the question that you need to ask yourself. And if it is not, then you are clearly holding your success back, right? Because success does not come with your expertise alone. It never does. There are people, your target audience, that you need to resonate with strongly. And when they resonate with you and you resonate with them, they see that spark in you, right? They see your abilities better. They see your capabilities more. They see your worth a little better, a little more. That is what leads you to success. Your knowledge or expertise alone does not lead you to success. It never does. So, in one sentence, that is what I was trying to put out on our LinkedIn banner to say, possibly your speaking skills are holding back your success intentionally or unintentionally.
Well, that makes me think immediately that need to evaluate, maybe how do I know if I'm resonating with people, with my audience. And I imagine that if I'm coming to you, I might be getting ready for speaking to a room of people. And so let me stop as well and say that your LinkedIn profile has a hyperlink, so I can actually schedule a one-on-one session with you. And this is what I am reading now, is that there are some actual things that you highlight on your scheduling page that we might work on. And one of them is nervousness, and another is voice modulation challenges. You mentioned strategy a few minutes ago, and that sounds like really what we would get into the meat of things when I would work with you one on one. But for right this second, the first thing that comes to mind is voice modulation challenges. um, you have a really very, very nice voice to listen to. And do you get a lot of clients who are are interested in, first, they're worried about, like, literally the voice, the tone of my voice? Do I sound okay to listen to? Is that something that I should be concerned about?
So, Elizabeth, when people come to me, I get on a discovery call with them, right? Because they are coming to me for a reason. They have a purpose in mind. They feel that they are not good enough at some part of communication, right?
Hey, listeners, don't forget to subscribe to email if you haven't already. Do this at dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. And if you are a new subscriber, look for the magazine coming up. You can get a free download as a new subscriber. That's dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Thanks so much, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Remember, you are a superstar.
I want to hear them. I want to hear what they feel their challenges are, right? And I always tell them that come up with 3 things that you want to work on, right? And then in my first session with them, I do a quick assessment to see if they are leveled up at certain skills that should be a given if you in front of an audience. So I'm checking off my boxes at my end when I give them a chance to speak, right? That's a quick assessment on my part. So it's not about what I can teach you or what you want to learn. I want it to be what you want and what I can help you with. So it's important to me that I'm listening to my audience, to the person who's coming to me, right? Helping them with what they are looking for. And then, as someone who has been working in the field for over 20 years now, there are gaps that I can very clearly, very quickly see as well, right? So I offer to help them with those as well as help them with what they are looking for, so that it is a strong, well-rounded effort on both our parts to elevate their public speaking skills. Yeah.
Okay, so uh, a talent, a skill, a built skill, for finding gaps. And you said, I think, that you can help immediately level up, or at least right away you can spot things that I could level up that should be a given. Hmm. What are some given things that I should be exhibiting as a speaker that you might be looking for?
Okay. So sure, the basics are voice modulation, right? How are you engaging with your voice, with your body language? That is a basic, your hand gestures and everything. Next, are you engaging your audience enough? There are clear strategies and tools to engage your audience. Are you engaging
Hmm.
your audience well? So those are things that I will look for, your confidence level as you're speaking, those silent cues that you are giving me that say that, you are not confident with what you are saying. Now, if you
Mm.
believe in what you are saying, your audience will believe in what you are saying very clearly, right? So, how do you project that belief in the way you're speaking is what I can help with. So, I always help with two things. One is the content, and the second is the presentation. Even if you're good with one of the two, you are not elevated to the level
Mm.
that you are a confident, great speaker. So your confidence as a speaker depends on your content and your presentation, both, right? So I help with both. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me what it's hard for me to not skip right to this post that I saw on your page about what you give. I think it's on your featured section where you tell us some wonderful closers. What are some guaranteed things that could help you wrap up your talk or help you close? And it's really hard to not want to jump right to that and ask you about that information in that post, because I know that in the middle of speaking to a room, that's how we keep, or that's how I feel like I struggle, is what do I do in the middle of my speech, in the middle of my story, to make sure that people are still interested. Hopefully I got them interested even at the beginning. So you said a minute ago, making sure that people are engaged, that I'm engaging my audience properly. Is that just as simple as like asking the audience a question every once in a while, or what might be some tools there that um, are tried and true, I guess? What are some of the basics that we should always do, or is there a formula for that?
Interestingly, Elizabeth, I've broken it all into formulas. Because I'm like, I share formulas with people, actionable formulas that they can work on. And of course, even for engaging your audience, there is. You asked me if a question is something that we should ask periodically in between. Yes, you can, and you should. It is one of the many tools that you can use, right? Um, a rhetorical question is, in my opinion, it is a way to keep them alert, right? A
Mhm.
rhetorical question does not expect a response, but it is something that is thought provoking, that makes them think about what you are saying. It keeps them focused on what you are saying, right? It provokes thinking, is what a rhetorical question is. So, of course, you can ask those questions. You can ask questions that they can respond to. You can share stories, right? There is huge power in storytelling. It is a great way to connect with your audience. And there has to be a very clear strategy to a story, right? Um,
Mm.
and not be sharing just about any story. So it sounds like storytelling could be easy, right? You're talking about
Hmm.
someone's stories. But if you're not strategizing it in a way that it is um, meaningful, yeah.
So yeah, so you said sometimes if you don't, strategy is important, and sometimes I could put a story into a talk or a speech, and it hopefully has the effectiveness I'm looking for, but it could fall flat. And so maybe strategy is how I would prepare for that.
When do you use a story? At what point of your speech are you using a story is important? And out of all the stories that you might have, which is the one that is the most effective one that you want to use? Does it tie to your message? And that's important. And then, how long do you say your story in
Mhm.
a way that, you're not going on and on and on, or you're cutting it so short that it is not impactful at all. So these are strategies, you have to understand. So I very strongly believe, Elizabeth, that um, that is power in words. If you align them in a right way, you are making solid impact on your audience. So, that's what I do. And I have seen beautiful speeches come out when the thoughts are aligned in the right way. I'm also a TEDx speaker coach, right? Um,
Yeah.
recently did it for a TEDx Andover. I've done it for TEDx Camden before. So, and all of those speakers, they've had great thoughts, but the alignment, when I was working with my speakers, we aligned the thoughts in a way that it was beautiful, it was magical, it was impactful. So
Mm,
the content itself never works that magic, right? So,
mm.
like when you're cooking, a lot of us would know how to cook pasta, but certain people do it in certain way that, like, oh, you know what, my pasta, I boiled it to that right level where it was, it's just perfect for it. Or the mixing of the sauces, it's the same way with public speaking. This is what I've realized over years, that um, use use the right strategies, and then anyone can become a great public speaker because it is an acquired skill.
So have you always been a naturally great speaker?
I've always been confident about talking to people, right? I've always loved interacting with people as a debater when I was growing up. So it came naturally to me.
Okay. You were a debater growing up?
Yes, in
Yeah.
school, I was a debater. So it came naturally to me, Elizabeth. But as a coach, I've helped so many individuals, get a strong handle on their communication skills. So that's why, coming from someone who says that they are very, they had the communication skill and growing up, I also say confidently that it's an acquired skill.
Well, of course. And I have found personally that um there's sometimes just practicing is fantastic. However, speaking of sharing stories, sometimes I get so comfortable sharing my story that I end up adding extra details, or I forget how long I've been speaking. And so these are technical tools or technical things, I guess. But is that is it literally helpful in a strategic way to figure out those things ahead of time, like timing? What are the details? Is that something that you could actually listen for? Could I practice speaking for you and you could actually pull out some technical things like that for me about, well, your story's too long, maybe.
Yes. In fact, yes, there are ways that we can find those things out. I was working with a speaker who had great thoughts, ideas, and author herself. Um, the alignment of the message was something that we really needed to put together strategically in a better way so that her talk could be as powerful, as impactful as it was. She had written the whole piece, and for me to just see it, I could quickly sense that it was beautiful. It was a very thought provoking speech, but I just felt that the alignment of it was not flowing the way it should. So the moment we fixed that glitch, if I may, it was beautiful. Her ideas, what she wanted to share was amazing, right? So, yes, to answer your question, yes, you can. Looking at a speech or a talk, you say, if you would have placed this in this way, it would have been more impactful, right?
Mm,
When you have a shorter time to speak to your audience, or when you're
mm,
making that pitch as a startup, you have limited time. You have your experience, you have your passion that you want to say things with, you have
mm,
a goal to get a buy-in from the investors. How do you put it all together in a limited time? It is important when you're doing a TEDx talk. Again, you come to speak because you have something very strong to share, right?
mhm,
There's limited time to put it together. So, how do you do it in a way that it's impactful? There has to be a strategy to it, right? So, um, I always feel that you have to be mindful of your audience, how you want to put your content out, what is your goal, what is the impact that you want to put out there. um, have you understood your audience? Have you done an audience analysis even before you went on to speak? All of these are important things, Elizabeth, to put it out there.
well, so yes, and I wonder if you can share with me why, um with it with why is it so, um maybe this contributes to nervousness, but if I'm speaking across different rooms, different cultures, different types of teams, right? Or even within one company, I might have different departments that feel a little bit different culturally. So is that difficult, as a coach? I want to know maybe from you personally behind the scenes. Is that a bigger challenge if you're helping me as a speaker learn how to address different audiences, with maybe the same content?
Great question, Elizabeth. So you have to be clear about what your goal is, right? What is your goal when you're talking to your audience, whether it's multicultural audience, your peer group? What is your goal? That goal
Mm,
should be met when you're talking to your audience. When you're doing audience analysis, besides understanding their needs, their expectations, it's important to consider the demographics as well, right? So that you are sensitive in the way you are speaking. You are not just resonating with one section of the people in the
mm,
audience. uh, you are resonating with everyone. For that, audience analysis is super duper important, and that gets neglected by speakers, right? They are trying to say what they want to say, but that's not enough, because when
mm,
you're saying, there should be a way to communicate. That's why I said in the beginning, speaking and communication are two different things, in the context that we are speaking right now. right? You should be able to communicate. So for that, it's important that you consider not just the needs and the expectations of your audience. Demographics, of course, plays a huge role in it too. So that you are sensitive to your audience, you are able to give them what they are looking for.
Uh-huh. That is a great way to say it. It's there is this interesting balance between did I get my point across, and that's very much just, do I think I said what I wanted to say, and did the audience receive it, or did um not just did it have the impact, but did my audience actually get anything out of it? And for the audience, when I'm the audience member, that's when I have a great experience, is partially when there's something that that person said that I was looking for. Ah, there it is. That gave me something I wanted. And so that's uh how do I know what my audience wants to hear from me?
So that is where audience analysis comes in, right?
Okay.
What are their needs? What are their expectations? What would their attitudes be? Do you feel that you'll find resistance on certain things, or certain things would be more widely accepted by them?
Mhm.
What are their demographics? So these are things that you will want to put some thought into before you start crafting your message, right?
Well, I have a couple of minutes left with you, and I do want to make sure I remember to ask you about this wonderful post that you put for us, for me to view. Anyone's on your LinkedIn profile, about these um, closers that you say almost work every time. I'm paraphrasing here. So, what makes some of these closers work?
Again, it aligns with your goal. What is your
Mhm.
goal? Do you want to leave your audience with something to think about? Do you want them
Hmm.
to take some action on what you are saying? Do you just want to recap everything so that it just stays in their mind? What is your goal? Because if you don't have a goal, or if you are ignoring your goal, it's a hard
Hmm.
cookie, you know? I mean, you have to finish it till the end. So be clear about what your goal is. Do you want to leave them with something to think about? Do you want them to take some action? Do you want to reiterate the most important parts of your speech? Right. Um, so keep those goals in mind, and then always do a closing. It could be as simple as a call to action. What do you want them to? What do you want them to do?
Yeah, well, and that's what I think I would like to highlight now, is again the booking one-on-one link on your LinkedIn profile. And so that's linkedin.com/in/Taruna hyphen Ramani, TARUNA hyphen RAM, like Mary, AN like Nancy, I. And so the link that I can click on is book a one-on-one session with me now. Um, Taruna, anything we should be looking out for coming up in the next few months where we can listen to you or watch you?
What is that one particular? No, I'm just excited about the year. There are
Hmm.
workshops that I'm doing, but they are workshops that are for that particular audience, right? So,
Hmm.
a lot of those things. But no, I'm just beyond that. I'm just excited to empower as many people as I can so that they believe in themselves, in their message, and they put it across as powerfully, impactfully as they can.
Well, thank you so much for coming to the Dear Business Coach podcast today. And also, you can expect the email that's coming out after this episode that features your episode and has your contact information in it, so we can get in touch with you directly that way. Alrighty. Well, what I would look out for maybe is in the next few months, some exciting reports. I know you have some, as you said, some audiences to help here in 2025. So, Taruna, thank you so much for coming to the podcast, and I hope you have a fantastic afternoon, and we'll talk really soon.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you for this opportunity.
So, check this out. My name's Elizabeth, host and producer of the Dear Business Coach podcast, and I'm bringing to you today a summary from an AI browser. What are your subscription benefits to the Dear Business Coach podcast? Subscribers to the email list receive a free magazine and weekly invites to live audio sessions with host Elizabeth Walker. Content focus: the podcast features insights from industry experts, coaches, and executives aimed at helping listeners to find actionable steps to advance their businesses. Live events. Listeners can participate in live audio events with Elizabeth, providing opportunities for direct engagement and learning. Advertising opportunities. Businesses can advertise on the Dear Business Coach podcast, reaching a targeted audience of entrepreneurs and business professionals. Subscribe to email now at dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Follow on social. Thanks so much for joining us.